everyone, I'm Kate and welcome to Music Production Nerds. On this episode, you'll learn how to overcome writer's block so that you can make beats and songs easily and quickly. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to touch on is that writer's block is inevitable for any musician, regardless of how talented you are. It's something that everyone experiences as a musician, so you shouldn't feel discouraged if you feel like the song or the beats or the lyrics are just not coming to you immediately. I experience writer's block all of the time, but there are a couple strategies I use to eliminate this as much as possible. One exercise that I find pretty helpful is using an analog or like a real instrument. If you're not an instrumentalist, don't worry, we'll go over some other strategies that you can use right in your DAW, but I feel like this one is worth mentioning. Sometimes if I'm producing for a really long time, I can feel a little too boxed in or focused on the technical aspects of engineering a certain sound that I stop myself from just letting my ideas get out on the paper. So a lot of times I like to grab my cheap guitar or my keyboard, which is back there, and just play a couple notes, simple chords, and just write out my ideas. Remember that it's okay to keep it simple, especially in the beginning. There are so many great songs that are made with just 2 chords. I think in the beginning when I started writing, I had a hard time producing and creating because I was trying to fulfill this expectation for myself. When you're writing, you need to focus on just that. So sometimes starting simple can help. Another thing that really helps me is letting the sounds flow and not necessarily worrying about the lyrics until later. In other sessions, the lyrics will come first and then I'll figure out the melody. But if I'm just brainstorming, a lot of times I just like to use a generic sound to create the melodies in my head and get excited before I create lyrics. So let me just pluck a couple notes and I'll share what comes to mind. So as you can see, you really don't have to be a great instrumentalist to use that skill. My guitar wasn't even fully in tune, but the point is that just allowing yourself to be free and use low-grade equipment or just a simple pattern, like I was just rotating 2 notes, can really free up your mind to start writing and creating the foundations for a song. You can worry about making it complex later, but when it's time to write, make everything as simple as possible so that you can free up that headspace. If you want to learn more about composing melodies automatically or building yourself up to have that skill, go ahead and give this video a like and comment below so we know to create that in the future. It's certainly not something that always comes naturally, but I think with practice, you'll be on the right path. Another way that you can overcome writer's block in your DAW is by applying the same strategy but just with a simple chord progression. So if I'm in Ableton here, let me just pull up a basic grand piano that comes with the DAW itself. Great, so let me go ahead, open up this grand piano noise. And, I'm gonna put on my metronome and just play a basic 4-chord progression of C, G, A minor, and F. If you don't have prior chord knowledge, you can use a plugin called Ripchord, which has been reviewed on musicproductionnerds.com, which will be linked below. All right, so let's go ahead and map out these chords. Great. All right, so super basic chord progression, but you know, like I said, simplicity is key for overcoming writer's block. So I'm just gonna go ahead and loop it. I just press Control L on the selected portion, turn off the metronome, and then I just kind of listen to my chord progression and let the ideas flow. So that could be the beginning of a verse. I could record out just that sample and play around with it. There's a lot of things you can do, but putting down a simple chord progression can help you get the ball rolling. Another tip that I like to use is whenever I come up with these melodies or sounds or whatever I come up with after listening to a simple chord progression, I use my voice memos app on my phone to record that idea. That way I won't have to worry about remembering different sections or different ideas. I can just continuously record and keep going until I find, hey, I feel like these pieces together would make a really solid sound. So I highly recommend using that to your advantage. Another helpful thing to do is add a little rhythm. For me, as you can see, I needed to use my metronome just to keep me on the beat while I'm figuring out my different sonic ideas. But you can make it a little more complex by creating a simple drum loop of your own, which we've talked about in a previous video, or just easily plopping in a pre-made loop. I'm gonna go ahead and do the latter just for simplicity's sake. All right, so I went ahead and picked one out. Now it's in the DAW. So sometimes just adding a drum loop layer, even a very simple one, can help you experience the chords in a different way, give you a little direction in terms of phrasing and groove for the foundation of your song, which helps you to overcome writer's block. The last thing I want to talk about is making a commitment. I think we all as producers really glamorize the process and think that every moment of music production, writing, or creation is just going to be super fun, engaging, and super stimulating. I think the reality is there are some tough things to deal with, like writer's block, but the difference between producers who end up being successful or at least like growing in their craft versus those who plateau or stay at the same level is this idea of commitment and working through those issues. I think with writer's block specifically, it's really easy to pass it off as something that you have no control of. While that may be true to a degree, learning how to work through that is an essential skill. So believe in yourself to the point where you know that if you keep working and you keep trying, you will overcome this mental block and create something. It might not be the best thing you've ever created, but the process of going through it is ultimately going to help you grow. Sometimes for me, it's helpful to set weekly goals. I'm a big schedule person, so I like knowing that, okay, every month I'm going to produce a finished demo, or I need to write a song at least once a week, or for some people it's at least once a day. If that works for you, I think that's great. That way you mentally prepare yourself for completing a task and having a tangible output. I think over time, as you work through the process, overcoming writer's block will become easier and easier, or at least it has in my experience, but it's all a journey, so feel free to take it at your own pace. If you need a day to just step away from a mix or the starting of a sound, or maybe you just don't feel inspired, that's totally okay. You have to do what's best for you and for your music/creative output. If you want to learn more about how I set up my production goals and my production schedule, feel free to give this video a like and comment down below so we can create that video in the future. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and visit the website musicproductionnerds.com if you'd like more music production tips, gear, and plugin guides. I'll see you next time. Bye!